second in a series of lessons where we look at those open position movable chords and the associated licks, riffs, and scales that go with those shapes. And this gives you a really solid, easy foundation for improvising, soloing, creating fills within verses, etc. as you're jamming and playing with your friends. Last time we looked at the A shape, and if you have not watched that lesson yet, do that here first. Today we're going to look at the D shape. One other mention about the last lesson, several people have asked me what is the relationship between what we're doing here and the CAGED system, the C-A-G-E-D system. And that's a good question, and one I'm going to cover at the end of this lesson. So stick around for that. I think you'll find it useful. But let's jump right into the content of this lesson. We're looking again at that D shape. We're playing in a 1-4-5 in the key of A, so we're going to have an A chord, a D chord, and an E chord, all major. And we're going to play them all using that D shape. So the one chord again is an A major. We've got a second string root chord here with this D chord, this D shape. So to find our A, we've got to come all the way up here to the 10th fret to find our A major triad in the D shape. So that's where I started off with, and the first thing I showed you was a scale lick. It is an A major scale lick over this D shape. So the associated scale that goes with the D shape, wherever you're playing it, in this case over an A chord, the root will start on the 5th string, in this case at the 12th fret, and I walked up from the 2nd to the minor 3rd to the major 3rd, which is a really popular major pentatonic lick that I've showed you in other lessons. So we're going 12th fret on the 5th string, and then 9, 10, 11 on the 4th string. So you can see that we're essentially going from the root to the root, and that should look similar to you from down here, right? Your C shape, as I'm going to show you later, is basically the same as the D shape, because if you move it up 2 frets, there's your D, and we move it up here to 11 and 12, or 10 and 12, and we have 2 A notes. So again, I did something along those lines. The scale would be, and then I bent that 12th fret 2nd string. That's your money note right there in this scale. It's the B note, it's the 2nd in the A major scale. Why is it the money note? Because you can bend it up to the minor 3rd, the C note, or the major 3rd, the C sharp note, and either one is good. Either one's going to sound good. Then I did a walk down sliding 6th lick. I've showed you these in a lot of other lessons. Again, what you've got is C sharp and the A. Go down 2 frets. And then same fret, 7th fret on the 4th and 2nd string. Sliding 6 in a lot of lessons. I'm not going to review them too much here, but just know that you can go up or down. I could have gone. Instead I went. And why was that a good thing to do in this particular case? Because we were leading to the 4 chord, which is a D. In this case we're playing a D chord of the D shape. And what do I have there? At the 7th fret, I've got notes out of a D chord, right? The A and the F sharp, the major third and the fifth of a D chord. Okay, so that was all over the A. Leads right into our D chord because it is a D chord. So over this 4 chord, the only lick that is a little different in the first position is the hammer-on from the open 3rd string to the 2nd fret 3rd string. Because if you're playing it up here, you'd have to go, which is cool, right? Anyway, I then went something like, similar licks that we did up here. So we had hammer, hammer, slide, sliding everything up 2 frets. So you're going up to the 4th and 5th fret and back down. And then, or you could go, or either one, which again is that same minor to major 3rd lick that I did down there. Then up here I went. I've shown you these pedal steel type licks many times. You're holding down the 5th, in this case the E note, 12th fret 1st string. You're holding that down with your pinky. Again, we're back over the 1, we're back over this A chord. It's an extremely common riff we've looked at in a lot of different songs. The thing that makes it, so you've got the root, the A, the 5th, the E, and then you're bending the B note, the 2nd, up to the major 3rd. So what you end up with is essentially an A major arpeggio. A, C sharp, E. So that is what makes that one cool. So that was over the A. Now we're going to the 5 chord, which is an E. I could have gone down here, right? That would be a D shape of an E chord, 2 frets up from a D shape of a D chord. Here's E chord in the D shape. But I chose to come all the way up to 16th and 17th fret and do a Chuck Berry style lick on the first 2 strings. So I'm taking the top 2 notes of that D shape of the E chord. Again, it would be the same as this, an E and a G sharp, right? So I've got the root and the major 3rd of an E chord, and I go down 2, then switch fingering so you're 2 frets apart. That's 12 and 14, then 10 and 12. And then landing at 9 and 10, which of course is, there's our A chord, right? I'm doing a descending lick from an E chord to an A chord. It makes sense. We're going from the 5 to the 1, so what did I do? I went from the 5 to the 1. E, D, A. Chuck Berry does this all the time. I've covered this in enough lessons, just like with the sliding 6. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here on why and when you change shapes from 1 fret apart to 2 frets apart. But I will say that you can hear it. If you do it wrong, you will hear it. If I went, right? No, that sounds awful. So use your ears or count it out. Let's start on the D of the D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, or octave. So you notice where I switched the fingering, it was on 4 and 5. 4, 5, then back. 4, 5, and 1 are 1 fret apart. The other 3 are 2 frets apart. Let's take the sliding 6. Here's our D chord, right? This is our C. Bring it up 2 frets. Here's our D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. You can see again where it switched was on 4 and 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So play around with those. Again, look at my other lessons. It's not terribly complicated, but these are hugely important tools to have in your toolkit. So again, back to our E, Chuck Berry. And then I ended it with outlining that A major chord in the D shape with 1 added note, that F sharp there, which is the 6th. So I'm sort of outlining an A6 arpeggio. Just a nice little descending, kind of again outlining a A6 chord. So those are some licks to play over the D shape. We had the scale. We had the sliding 6. We had some hammer-ons. We had a slide. We had that pedal steel lick, and then we had the Chuck Berry. Style licks. Alright, let's talk caged here for a second. We looked at the A shape last time. Why am I only doing, I'm only doing A, D, and F. Caged has 2 more letters. Why? First of all, I'm doing F instead of E because it's just easier to see that that's what you move, whereas when you're playing an E chord, the bar is kind of missing there, right? So that's why I say F instead of E, and we're going to look at F next time. But as far as the A and G chords, they're the same. They're the same shape and set of licks for the most part. Here's why. Take that G chord, move it up 2 frets. That's your A chord. It's the same shape. These 3 strings, they stay the same in those 2 shapes. It's easier to see further up the neck. Let's take a C chord. So if we had the A shape of a C chord, you guys should know this, right? That this is your A shape of a C chord. 5th string root, root's also there on the 3rd string, 5th fret. So that would be the A shape of a C chord. If we wanted to play the G shape of a C chord, we'd go up here, right? Your G chord has a 6th and 1st string root, so we need to find the C note on the 1st and 6th string. So up here, the 8th fret, so we're barring those 3 strings, the 5th fret, And notice how unwieldy that is. It's almost impossible to play. You could play it on a Duosonic or a Mustang, maybe, a short scale guitar. No one does that, right? No one I know. So that's one reason I don't do the G shape, is because no one plays like that. But the main reason is, as I said a minute ago, those three notes are the same in both shapes. So the licks that are associated with it are pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. The scales are a little different, because if you're playing the G-shaped scale up here, and if you're playing it down here, it would be. But again, these three notes would be in common. So that exact same thing applies with the C shape and the D shape, which is why, again, I only cover one of them. And I cover the one that you tend to move. You tend to move that shape. Just ask Pete Townsend in Sparks, right? That's all he does, is play the D and F shape all over the fretboard. I did a whole lesson on that. If you're interested in learning Sparks, you can find it here. So many riffs that have that D shape going up and down the neck, whereas again, really the only time you play that C shape up the neck is when you're playing a 7th chord. That kind of thing. I'll talk more about these kinds of things in the next lesson, where we'll be looking at the F shape. I might make that into 2 lessons, because there's a lot of them. Alright, that was a lot today. Hope it made sense, and thanks for joining me.